The episode of The View began like any other, with the familiar theme music playing as the hosts took their seats at the iconic round table, smiles plastered on their faces under the bright studio lights. Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Anna Navarro, and Joy Behar chatted animatedly about the day's hot topics, from politics to pop culture, building anticipation for their special guest. The audience buzzed with excitement when it was announced that Academy Award-winning actor Denzel Washington would be joining them to discuss his latest film project, a gripping drama about social justice and redemption that had already generated Oscar buzz. Denzel entered the stage to thunderous applause, looking dapper in a tailored suit, his charismatic smile lighting up the room as he hugged each host warmly. The conversation started light-hearted, with Whoopi praising his illustrious career spanning decades, from iconic roles in Training Day to The Equalizer series, and Denzel humbly sharing anecdotes about his early days in theater. Joy Behar, known for her sharp wit and unfiltered opinions, jumped in with a question about how his films often tackle heavy themes like racism and inequality, asking if he felt Hollywood was doing enough to address real-world issues. Denzel nodded thoughtfully, explaining his passion for storytelling that provokes thought and change, emphasizing the importance of authentic representation. As the discussion progressed, Joy steered the talk toward current events, probing Denzel on his views about recent political controversies, particularly around celebrity involvement in activism. Denzel responded measuredly, stressing the need for unity and personal responsibility, but Joy pressed further, challenging him on what she perceived as ambiguity in his stance on certain divisive topics. The audience sensed a shift in tone, with murmurs rippling through the crowd as the exchange grew more pointed. Denzel, maintaining his composure, elaborated on his belief in dialogue over division, drawing from his own experiences growing up in a challenging environment and how faith and family guided him. Joy, not one to back down, interjected with a quip about celebrities staying in their lane, which elicited a few laughs but also raised eyebrows. Denzel chuckled initially, but his expression hardened slightly as he countered that everyone, including talk show hosts, has a platform to influence positively or negatively. The back and forth continued, with other hosts trying to mediate, but the energy in the room thickened, setting the stage for what would become an unforgettable moment. Viewers at home leaned in closer to their screens, captivated by the unexpected tension unfolding live on daytime television. As the segment delved deeper, Joy Behar doubled down on her line of questioning, referencing past interviews where Denzel had spoken about his conservative leanings and how they sometimes clashed with Hollywood's predominantly liberal atmosphere. She asked pointedly if he regretted any public statements that might alienate fans, citing examples from his career where he emphasized self-reliance over systemic excuses. Denzel paused for a moment, his eyes narrowing as he processed the implication, then responded firmly that he stood by his words, believing in empowering individuals rather than perpetuating victimhood narratives. The audience erupted in a mix of applause and gasps, sensing the brewing storm. Joy, undeterred, pushed back with statistics on social disparities, arguing that ignoring structural issues was naive, her voice rising slightly in passion. Denzel leaned forward, his voice steady but intense, countering that true progress comes from within communities, not just top-down policies, and shared a personal story about mentoring young people in underserved areas through his foundation. The other hosts interjected sporadically, with Sunny Hostin adding her legal perspective on systemic racism, which Denzel acknowledged respectfully but maintained his viewpoint on personal agency. Joy, however, seemed increasingly frustrated, interrupting Denzel mid-sentence to challenge his optimism as out of touch with reality for everyday Americans struggling amid economic hardships. This interruption marked a turning point, as Denzel's demeanor shifted from polite engagement to visible irritation, his jaw clenching as he asked Joy to let him finish his thought. The studio fell into an uneasy hush, with camera operators zooming in on the exchanged glances among the panel. Joy retorted with a sarcastic remark about male egos in debates, which drew scattered laughter but also audible boos from the audience. Denzel, now fully engaged in the heat of the moment, questioned Joy's own biases, pointing out how media figures like her often sensationalize issues for ratings rather than fostering genuine conversation. The verbal sparring intensified, with words flying back and forth like verbal jabs in a boxing ring, each trying to land a rhetorical punch. Whoopi attempted to steer the discussion back to lighter territory by mentioning Denzel's upcoming projects, but the damage was done. The exchange had veered into personal territory, leaving viewers riveted and social media already ablaze with clips and commentary. The tension was palpable, hanging in the air like a thick fog, as the show approached its commercial break, but not before Denzel delivered a line that would echo across headlines. The heated exchange reached its boiling point when Joy Behar accused Denzel Washington of pandering to conservative audiences with his messages of self-empowerment, suggesting it was a calculated move to broaden his appeal beyond liberal Hollywood circles. Denzel, his voice rising for the first time, vehemently denied the accusation, stating that his beliefs were rooted in his upbringing and life experiences, not market strategy. He elaborated on how his father's discipline and mother's faith shaped his worldview, emphasizing that reducing complex issues to political labels was simplistic and divisive. Joy fired back, claiming that celebrities like him had a responsibility to use their influence for progressive causes, and that neutrality in times of injustice was complicity. The audience reacted with a chorus of reactions, some cheering Denzel's authenticity while others supported Joy's call for accountability. Sunny Hostin jumped in to support Joy, citing historical contexts of oppression, but Denzel countered by highlighting success stories of individuals overcoming odds through perseverance, not handouts. The debate spiraled, with crosstalk overlapping as emotions ran high, the once friendly interview transforming into a full-blown confrontation. Ana Navarro tried to inject humor, joking about needing popcorn for the drama, but it fell flat amid the intensity. Denzel, feeling cornered, questioned the host's intentions, asking if the show was about discussion or ambush, which prompted Joy to defend the View's format as a platform for tough conversations. Her tone, however, came across as condescending, further fueling Denzel's frustration. He stood up abruptly, microphone still in hand, declaring that he came to promote unity, not endure character attacks. The studio gasped collectively as he removed his mic pack, handing it to a stunned producer off camera. Joy, taken aback, attempted to salvage the moment by extending an olive branch, but Denzel shook his head, stating firmly, "I'm done here, this isn't productive." As he walked off the set, the camera captured the shocked expressions of the hosts and the audience's standing ovation mixed with boos. Whoopi called for a commercial break, her voice uncharacteristically shaky, as the show cut away amid chaos. Backstage whispers and crew scrambling added to the drama, with reports later emerging of heated words continuing off-air. The incident instantly went viral, with hashtags like #DenzelWalksOff and #ViewClash trending worldwide, sparking debates on civility in media and the role of celebrities in politics. Analysts dissected every word, praising Denzel's poise or criticizing his exit, depending on their bias. In the aftermath of Denzel Washington's dramatic exit from The View, the studio audience remained in stunned silence for a few moments before erupting into a cacophony of discussions, with some applauding his stand against what they saw as biased questioning, while others felt he overreacted to legitimate probes. The hosts, regaining composure during the commercial break, returned to address the elephant in the room, with Whoopi Goldberg acknowledging the passion on both sides and expressing regret that the conversation derailed. Joy Behar, ever the provocateur, defended her questions as necessary for holding public figures accountable, but admitted the exchange got personal. Social media exploded with reactions, celebrities weighing in from both sides of the aisle, some like Oprah Winfrey calling for more respectful dialogues, others like Kanye West praising Denzel's boldness. News outlets picked up the story immediately, with headlines screaming about the shockwaves in daytime TV, analyzing body language and speculating on behind-the-scenes fallout. Denzel's publicist issued a statement later that day, affirming his commitment to positive discourse but standing by his decision to leave when respect was lost. Joy, in a subsequent interview, laughed off the incident as typical View fireworks, but insiders revealed tensions ran deeper, with rumors of ABC executives intervening to smooth things over. The episode's ratings skyrocketed, becoming one of the most watched in the show's history, proving that controversy sells. Fans of Denzel rallied online, sharing clips of his articulate responses and decrying what they perceived as an ambush by liberal hosts. Critics, however, accused him of thin skin, unable to handle tough questions from strong women. The incident sparked broader conversations about media polarization, with pundits on CNN and Fox News debating the merits of such exchanges and informing the public versus entertaining. Denzel, undeterred, continued his press tour for the film, using the buzz to highlight its themes of reconciliation. Joy, meanwhile, became a meme sensation, with her facial expressions during the clash photoshopped into various humorous contexts. The View dedicated a segment the next day to viewer feedback, reading letters that ranged from supportive to scathing, further fueling the fire. Ultimately, the event underscored the volatile intersection of entertainment, politics, and personality, leaving an indelible mark on pop culture. Reflections from participants months later revealed growth, with Denzel admitting he could have stayed longer, and Joy conceding her approach was aggressive. The ripple effects of the heated exchange between Denzel Washington and Joy Behar extended far beyond the studio, influencing public discourse on celebrity activism and media responsibility. Late-night shows like The Tonight Show and The Late Show parodied the moment, with hosts impersonating Denzel's stoic walk-off and Joy's feisty retorts, turning drama into comedy gold. Social platforms buzzed for weeks, with TikTok users recreating the scene in viral challenges, amassing millions of views and likes. Advocacy groups seized the opportunity to promote their causes, using the clash as a case study in how conversations about race, politics, and power can quickly devolve. Denzel's film saw a surge in interest, with box office projections revised upward as curious audiences flocked to theaters, drawn by the real-life intrigue surrounding its star. Joy Behar's book sales spiked as well, with her memoir on outspokenness climbing bestseller lists amid the publicity. ABC faced scrutiny from watchdogs for allowing such unscripted volatility, but executives defended it as authentic television that sparks real talk. Interviews with audience members present that day revealed a divided room. Some felt empowered by Denzel's authenticity, others disappointed by the abrupt end. Psychological experts weighed in on talk shows, discussing the dynamics of confrontation and ego in high-stakes environments. Denzel, in a follow-up appearance on a different network, reflected philosophically, quoting scripture about turning the other cheek while standing firm in one's truth. Joy, during a podcast episode, shared her side, emphasizing her role as a journalist unafraid to ask hard questions, even if it ruffles feathers. The incident prompted The View to implement subtle changes, like more pre-interview vetting of topics, to prevent future meltdowns. Broader implications touched on gender dynamics, with feminists praising Joy's assertiveness and others critiquing potential double standards in how male guests are treated. Cultural commentators noted how such events humanize celebrities, reminding viewers that stars are people with opinions and limits. Months later, at award shows, subtle nods to the clash appeared in acceptance speeches, with Denzel humorously thanking tough interviewers for keeping him sharp. The story became a teaching moment in media studies classes, analyzing rhetoric, nonverbal cues, and audience engagement. In the end, both parties emerged unscathed professionally, their profiles elevated by the notoriety, proving that in showbiz, there's no such thing as bad publicity when handled with grace. Reflecting on the legacy of Denzel Washington's shocking walk-off from The View after his heated exchange with Joy Behar, it's clear that the incident transcended a mere TV mishap to become a cultural touchstone. Years down the line, it would be referenced in documentaries about daytime television's evolution, highlighting how unfiltered moments capture the zeitgeist. Denzel's career continued to flourish, with new roles that challenged stereotypes and earned critical acclaim, his resolve strengthened by the experience. Joy Behar remained a staple on The View, her no-holds-barred style endearing her to fans who appreciated her candor. Reconciliation rumors swirled when both appeared at a charity event, exchanging pleasantries that suggested fences mended over time. The audience's shock that day evolved into empowerment for many, inspiring viewers to speak their truths in everyday debates. Media training seminars incorporated the clip as a cautionary tale on handling adversarial interviews. Pop culture podcasts dissected the psychology behind the clash, exploring themes of respect, boundaries, and public personas. Denzel's foundation expanded its outreach, using the publicity to fund more youth programs focused on debate and critical thinking. Joy authored an op-ed on the value of disagreement in democracy, turning the negative into a positive discourse. The Views format adapted slightly, incorporating more diverse viewpoints to balance panels. Social media algorithms favored similar content, leading to a surge in gotcha moments across platforms, though some called for more civility. Historians might one day view it as a microcosm of 2025's polarized landscape, where entertainment and ideology collided spectacularly. Fans created fan fiction and art depicting alternate endings, from reconciliations to escalations, keeping the memory alive. Award nominations for the episode itself followed, recognizing its impact on viewership metrics. Denzel and Joy, in separate interviews, expressed no regrets, viewing it as a growth opportunity. The shocking audience reaction that dia gasps, cheers, and debates mirrored society's own divisions, reminding all that dialogue, even heated, is essential. As time passed, the event faded into lore, but its lessons on empathy and articulation endured, influencing how public figures engage with media forevermore. In a world craving authenticity, this clash delivered in spades, shocking yet enlightening all who witnessed it.